The throne room of the celestial spire was a monument to delicate power. Its walls shimmered with captive light, and the air smelled of ozonic flowers. At its heart, upon a dais of fluid crystal, sat the princess. She was all graceful limbs and large, luminous eyes, her silver skin catching the ambient glow. Before her, flanked by two of her royal guards tall, armored beings with chitinous plates stood. The human soldier. He was clad in the standard-issue tactical armor of the Terran Expeditionary Force. A matte gray shell that made him look blocky and utilitarian amidst the spire's elegance. A diplomatic envoy from a newly contacted species, they said. A soldier, the princess noted with disdain. How typical of the humans. They send a warrior to a palace of light, she said, her voice a melodic chime that held a sharp edge. Is conversation not a craft of your people? Or do you only understand the grammar of force? The human, whose name was on the diplomatic roster, but she had not bothered to learn, remained at a parade rest. I am here as a security liaison, Your Radiance. And as a gesture of Terra's respect. Respect? A tinkling laugh escaped her. She gestured with a long-fingered hand at his armor. You hide inside a metal shell. You fear our atmosphere? Our sunlight? Or do you fear we will see what weakness lies beneath? Her guards shifted, a subtle click of carapace. The insult was profound in their culture, where personal honor was worn openly. The human's helmet remained facing forward. The armor is standard for unknown environments. It is practicality, not fear. It is cowardice, she declared, rising from her throne. She drifted down the dais steps until she was a pace from him, looking up at his helmeted visage. You speak of your species' resilience, your legendary adaptability. Yet here you are, a creature sealed in a can. I have seen your physiological data. Your world is a garden of gentle gravity and soft air. Ours has a pull 30% stronger, an atmosphere rich with energetic particles. You would gasp and stumble without that shell. Your might is a borrowed thing, a product of your machines. There is no human to respect, only the craft of your engineers. The chamber fell silent. The insult hung in the air, a deliberate provocation to test the limits of the new species' diplomacy. The human soldier did not move for a long moment. Then, with a soft hiss of equalizing pressure, the seals on his collar disengaged. The sound echoed in the quiet room. Your Radiance, one of the guards chimed, a note of warning in its tone. A princess raised a hand, her curiosity piqued. Was he so foolish? Piece by piece, the armor came off. The helmet released with a click, revealing a young man's face, tanned and marked with a faint scar along the jaw. His hair was cropped short, his eyes a calm, steady brown. He did not gasp. He simply breathed in the ozonic air. Next came the chest plate, the gauntlets, the greaves. Each piece was placed neatly on the polished floor until he stood in only his simple, dark gray bodysuit. He was leanly muscular, compact, unremarkable beside the elegant, elongated forms of the aliens. A faint, derisive smile touched the princess's lips. A gesture? Now you are merely unprotected. The environment will punish your hubris and ours. The human soldier bent, unlatching the mag clamps on his boots. He removed them, standing barefoot on the cool, seamless floor. Then he looked at her, his expression neutral. You spoke of weakness, your radiance, he said, his voice softer without the helmet's modulator, but clear. You questioned the source of human strength. With your permission, I will return to the Terran embassy. It is approximately 12 of your kilometers from here, through the city's lower transit rings. The princess's large eyes widened. The lower transit rings were the bustling, unfiltered heart of the capital, open to the sky, exposed to the full force of the planet's environment. The journey was arduous for her own people, who used shielded transports. For an unadapted, unprotected human from a softer world, it was considered impossible. A death sentence. "You are a fool," she stated, though a thread of intrigue now wound through her scorn. "You will collapse before the first spire's shadow. Then that will answer your question," he replied. He gave a short, formal nod, turned, and walked barefoot from the throne room. The princess watched him go, a strange feeling unsettling her. She expected bravado, a few staggered steps before a humiliated request for his armor. But his steps, even on the unfamiliar, harder floor, were measured and firm. She waited for the great doors to seal, then gestured to her guards. "Track him." "I would witness this lesson." From her private skiff, hovering at a discreet distance, she observed. The human descended from the spire's rarefied heights via the grand stairways, joining the flow of her people in the open-air avenues. The stronger gravity, which gave her own kind a graceful, slow-motion gait, seemed to press on him differently. He did not float. He planted each foot with deliberate intent, his body leaning slightly forward as if against a wind. He did not gasp, but his breathing deepened, his chest working harder to process the dense air. Citizens stared. A being from a lesser gravity world, walking barefoot and unshielded in the capital, was unprecedented. Some called out curious questions, others muttered about impropriety. The human did not respond. His attention was on the path ahead, his face a mask of concentration. After 3 kilometers, the princess was sure he would falter. His bodysuit was damp with sweat, and the unique solar radiation, harmless to her species, was likely beginning to burn his skin. Yet he did not stop. He drank from a public hydration spire when he reached one, pausing only for a minute before moving on. At the 5th kilometer, the route dipped into the lower rings. Here, the architecture was less shielded, the light more direct, the gravity plating slightly less calibrated. The human's pace slowed. Each step seemed an effort. His bare feet, the princess noted through her magnifier, were cut and soiled. But his expression had not changed. The calm determination was still there, etched now in gritted teeth and a focused gaze. Her earlier mockery had evaporated, replaced by a dawning, uncomfortable awe. Her guards, monitoring his vital signs from their scanners, chimed softly. Elevated core temperature, minor tissue damage from radiation, significant muscular fatigue. Stress indicators are high, but his systems are not failing. He is adapting in real time. His physiology is rerouting resources, strengthening circulatory functions. He is in pain, the princess observed, not as a taunt, but as a realization. Considerable pain, your radiance. Yet he is not stopping. This was not the borrowed strength of machines. This was something else, something written in the sinew and the will. The human was not fighting the environment with technology. He was accepting its punishment, measuring its weight, and enduring it. His strength was not in resisting the pressure, but in carrying it. At the 10th kilometer, he stumbled. For the first time, his knees buckled, and he caught himself on a low wall. His shoulders heaved. The princess held her breath, a strange knot in her chest. Was this the end? A quiet collapse, a proof of her original point? The human pushed himself upright. He looked at his hands, rubbed the grit from his palms onto his suit, and continued. The final 2 kilometers were a study in pure endurance. His walk was a slow, relentless march, a testament to a terrible, profound stamina. He was not graceful. He was not powerful in the way her guards were powerful. He was something arguably more formidable. He was unyielding. The Terran embassy was a modest, fortified structure near the starport. A small crowd had gathered, alerted by the strange spectacle. Human personnel watched from the entrance, their faces tight with concern, but also a grim pride. The human soldier reached the final approach. His body was a map of exertion, every line speaking of immense strain. He stopped before the embassy gates, turned, and looked directly up at the hovering skiff, as if he had known she was there all along. He could not possibly see her through the one-way canopy, but he nodded once, that same short, formal nod. Then he walked through the gates, and his colleagues closed around him. The princess's skiff returned to the celestial spire in silence. The throne room felt different, now not less grand, but its beauty seemed suddenly fragile. An aesthetic choice rather than a testament of spirit. She stood again on her dais. The image of the human's slow, painful, unwavering walk burned into her mind. He had not spoken a word of insult. He had not raised a hand. He had simply taken the cruelest interpretation of her words and followed it to its logical, brutal conclusion, revealing its flaw. She had mocked the shell, thinking the creature within was soft. He had shown her that the shell was merely a convenience. The true hardness was underneath, in the bone and the blood, and the will that could choose to walk through fire to make a point. A guard approached, holding the human's discarded armor, collected and polished. "Your Radiance," the Terran liaison's equipment. She looked at the matte gray plates, no longer seeing a cage of cowardice, but a courtesy, a restraint. The human had removed it not to prove he did not need it, but to prove that his strength was his own, with or without it. "Have it returned to the embassy?" she said, her chime-like voice quiet. "With my compliments." She did not say apologies. The word felt insufficient, a tiny thing next to the magnitude of the demonstration she had witnessed. She had demanded to see the human, and he had shown her. Not just a man, but a glimpse of the species that bred him.